Hello and welcome to Watchin It episode 213. On today's show, Donnell thinks this is exactly why you don't give robots feelings. Robert, swords, vampires, and vending machines. And on the Acolyte, there's the new toy. Of course, there's always a new robot toy. I'm your host, Donnell, and with me as always is Robert. Robert, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic.
Doing fantastic. Friday, the sun's out.
Last day of spring for me. Like the summer is here.
Yeah.
You know, like it's starting to get too hot.
Dude,
too hot.
I don't know what's going on because I'm using the opposite of this. My allergies just kicked in. They're not bad. I just got watery, itchy eyes and a little bit of a runny nose. But usually I get mine in spring because that's why I hate spring. That's one of the reasons I hate spring. Yeah. And then by the time summer gets here, we're wrapping things up and I'm feeling fine. I don't like this transition. I don't want summer allergies. I've hated spring all my life.
This is a conversation for talking it because I'm going to go down a rabbit hole of cleaning my car with pollen all the time. Anyway, time for that. I got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. A bunch of anime.
Not just anime.
Oh.
First, I'm going to start out with two non-animes.
Oh.
First, Civil War.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was really excited about it. They're like, oh, this is going to be the movie of the summer. This is going to really divide the nation and all this stuff.
Yeah.
There was a lot of rumblings online,
True.
Civil War. I'm thinking they had a different name for it. But probably, I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but I'm guessing they had a different name for it. And then they're like, oh, let's call this Civil War. It'll get some press and all this stuff. It is not about the Civil War, the future modern Civil War.
Right.
That they kind of depict in the trailer. It's about journalists, specifically camera journalists, picture journalists. I don't know what the visual journalists. I don't know what the word is.
I don't know.
Anyway,
journalists.
Yeah, it's about a woman who takes pictures and goes and tries to find the best pictures from war zones and stuff like that.
War journalists, maybe, or photographers. I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, and an apprentice and a guy who was wanting to go interview the president at the end of an American Civil War.
Okay.
And the president is the bad guy. And they got to go into enemy territory to try to get to him. And everyone's just like, you're just going to get shot.
Yeah.
They don't let him talk to journalists. Like, they just kill you on sight kind of stuff. And it's really good. It's a really good story, really pretty. Well, not pretty. It's really visually exceptional. The soundtrack is way better than it deserves to be. Yeah. But it's worth a watch. It's a very serious movie. But yeah, again, if you're going there like, oh, we're going to see the division of a nation and how that plays out in the Civil War, it's like, no, there's very little combat.
Yeah.
There's some combat, but there's not a lot. Anyway.
I'm just wondering if...
Unexpectedly good.
And not that he needs it, because I've seen him in other stuff by himself, but maybe C just doesn't want to act without him anymore. I'm just wondering if Kirsten Dunst just has a clause in all her contracts, like, if I'm in a movie, so's my husband. Because I can't think of one movie she's been in recently that her husband hasn't been in with her. That's funny. And stuff. So I'm just like, is that like a stipulation? Is that the only way you get her?
Maybe they funded it. Maybe they're the producers or something like that. Yeah. I also watched Shogun. Show just ended recently. Nice. Came out fantastic. I was hoping cannot wait for a second season, which I think we're definitely getting. Lots of subtitles though. Lots of subtitles, but really good and worth checking out. So, anime time.
Of course. Here we go.
Reincarnated as a sword.
Reincarnated as a sword.
Yeah. Dude on Earth gets reincarnated as like the master sword. Has stats, all that stuff, has special abilities. He has telepathy, so he can kind of float around, he can talk, but he's just a sword.
Just a sword.
He's in a stone, waiting for the hero to come pick him up. But he can leave the stone himself.
Oh, he can.
Yeah, it's not like he's stuck there.
Because I was like, that has to suck.
So he just wanders around for like a long time, just beating up monsters by himself.
So wait, it's like if he can leave the stone, let the hero stumbles by.
I don't know what that. Tell me about it. Well, the whole forest is surrounded by like a lot of high level monsters and stuff. And it's funny because at some point in the show they talk about like where'd all the monsters go in this area, and he keeps having to travel further and further out to find monsters to kill because he's killed them all and all this stuff. Anyway, he eventually finds a child, I don't know, like 12 or 13 cat girl that's a slave that's like marching by. Because they're like, oh, now we can sneak through the forest because all the monsters are gone.
Yeah.
She ends up becoming his wielder, and she starts leveling up with his help. He's like a father figure to her. Like there's no harem or weirdness about it.
Yeah.
And stuff, and it's just a nice little wholesome, fun anime about a sword and a cat girl.
Nice.
Yeah, just going around doing Adventureland stuff.
Fantastic.
Two vampire ones. The first one is the Cosmonaut Vampire. Just a nice little simple one. It's kind of serious in a way. It takes place during the space race in Russia.
Okay.
And they're like, hey, we need to, trying to do their space program. And they're like, we need to send a person, like a human, like a thinking, intelligent being into space, but we can't send a real person. So we're going to send a vampire because they can kind of survive it and they're trash. It's kind of an allegory for the Romani people. The Romani people are kind of derogatorily called gypsies. Yep. It's kind of got that feel because like there's vampires are around, but like they're not prominent, and everybody hates them obviously because they drink blood. They look weird, and they can only go out at night and stuff like that. And it's just a story of her training to be an astronaut, and she's got like a keeper, like soldier guy, cosmonaut, and going through the space program to be the first human, the first intelligent being to go into space, and it's just fun.
That sounds interesting.
I mean, it's kind of dark and it's sad, but but it's interesting. Specifically, it's called Arena, the Vampire Cosmonaut. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Next one, Call of the Night, another vampire show. This is on my must-watch list.
Okay.
This is really, really good. I really, really loved it. It's got one season. We're going to get a second season, which I'm super excited about. It is about a 14-year-old boy who
I remember you showing me some of this one.
Yeah, he just decides to check out. He's like, stops going to school and just starts sneaking out at night and wandering around the city. And he meets up with a vampire girl, and she's like, oh, you smell really awesome. And then she like drinks a little bit of his blood and is like, oh, you taste really awesome. And he's like, okay, well, make me a vampire. And she's like, well, the only way that works is you've got to fall in love with me, and then I have to drink your blood. And so they just kind of start hanging out every night, and she gets to drink his blood, and he's not really, he's 14. He doesn't know what love is.
Right.
He don't really understand any of that. They address that very heavily in the show. It's very real in a lot of ways, and it's aesthetically amazing. The whole thing takes place at night, obviously. It's just got a lot of weird vibes to it that are really great. An amazing soundtrack. And visuals and the way the characters are drawn, and the voice acting is amazing. The voice acting is so good that a lot of people are like, we won't even watch the second season if it doesn't have the same voice actors.
Dang.
And stuff. Which is an odd thing that I'm getting into, is like I'm starting to recognize the voice actors. I'm like, oh, that's the one that played that and that and that and whatnot, and watching shows
deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, folks.
It's just really good. There's very little fighting in it, but when fights do happen, it's really, really good. Yeah, just it's got some Edge Runner vibes. It's got some what was that one that we covered that was really short? Voice of a Distant Star vibes. Yeah, it's just vibing all the way, and really, just excellent. I cannot talk about it enough, but we don't have that kind of time. But yeah, Call of the Night. If you like vampires, definitely something worth checking out. Reborn as a Vending Machine, I Now Wonder the Dungeon.
Is this the one you showed me?
I did show you this one. Okay.
This one is something else.
This is, in fact, we should watch more of that while we're at the break. It is about a guy who is, he's on Earth. He's hauling a vending machine and flies off a cliff, and then he gets reincarnated in a vending machine, and he loves it.
He's way too stoked about it. Like
there's a point where he's like given the opportunity, or they talk about the opportunity of him not being a vending machine, and he's like, no, I would have to stop being this awesome vending machine. Like,
it's one of those things of like, before you were really down, because this one you introduced me to actually quite early in your anime career. And
this was an early find.
We hadn't watched too many izakais, but the ones we had seen, most of the time it like took the people a little while to figure out what was going on. And also, like, if they did figure out, they weren't always on board right away, and like since then you have shown me other animes where like, what is it? The one about the guy, the edgelord. What?
Eminence and Shadow.
Yeah, Eminence and Shadow. Like, he from the get-go was all on board and stuff, but still, no one tops this vending machine guy with how quickly he comes to terms with it, and then full on is like,
there's a lot of them where they're just like, oh, I've just been isekai.
Yeah.
Okay, where's the Adventurers Guild? Let's get go.
Still something else.
He is completely. I'm gonna asterisk. immobile.
Mm-hmm.
He cannot move himself except under very specific conditions. He can restock. He can change what he's selling.
Yeah.
Basically, he has a money pool, right, that he can use to
kind of like his experience.
He has like a shield he can cast and stuff like that, but he can't just restock what he has or change what he's selling. He can turn into any vending machine that's ever existed in Japan.
Yes.
So he's not locked into just regular old candy and soft drinks and whatnot, right? It's like they have in Japan, they have like oxygen vending machines. They have defibrillator vending machines. They have air pressure vending machines. And he cycles through these all the time and uses them to fight battles and stuff like that. And it gets real. They deal with it on a real level that I hadn't expected. Where like they set him. He's got like a friend that he meets that she's like super strong and she carries him around, right? And that he can't talk in general like a person. But like the vending machine has certain like things it can say, like hello there, and have a nice day. So they develop like a language based on the limited like vocabulary that he has as the vending machine. There's instances like he's hanging out in this village and they're talking to him, and they're like, we're having this problem with sickness going around, a very specific type of sickness. He becomes a condom machine. He's on the road traveling with a group, and the ladies in the group are having a very specific problem. He becomes a feminine hygiene vending machine. He's very versatile. And like you said, nations will fall.
Yeah.
Battles will be fought. He gets kidnapped all the time.
I was about to say, like at first, like that's weird, but like with what he's able to do, like he at one point,
he's
like,
a force multiplier. They bring him on
the only thing feeding this town, and like there's this like and she just
there's like an army that's moving, and they're like, we don't gotta carry food.
Yeah,
we just gotta carry enough money to pay you for food. So that way, it is. Fantastic! It is so much fun.
In the world.
Unfortunately, there's only one season. We don't know if we're getting another season, but look, I know you've said, Donnell, like you really want to be able to finish a story.
Yeah,
I've learned very quickly throughout this experience. You've got to do multiple things. First, you got to just be okay with the journey.
Yeah,
and not necessarily getting to the end, or you got to go finish with the manga. I haven't gotten into light novels yet. I'm getting there. But that's a lot, That's just like I'm just reading a book now, and they don't really do audiobooks for light novels and whatnot. But vending machine anime is super fun. I would say it's on my watch list, not my must watch list, but it's definitely like, hey, if you're looking for a fun anime, it's gonna take the edge off of something serious you just watch, like Girls Last Tour or something like that. Like, go check out the vending machine anime.
Okay, yeah, it's still on my list for sure. Nice.
So tell me about some robots, Donnell.
Well, so Robert,
that aren't related to Star Wars.
not to anywhere on the same level as you, but I watched some anime. I watched some anime, folks. Robert's not the only one.
I keep giving him like animes to watch, and he's like, I don't have time for this.
I know. I honestly, I don't even know how, because this is not one of the ones you recommended, and I did feel guilty. I did watch more. I still haven't finished the second season, but I did watch more Minutes of Shadow. But I watched the anime Pluto. It's on Netflix right now if you want to check it out. And it is basically, it's about a world where we've made artificial intelligence, we've made AI, we've made robots, and because I always talk about this myself, like thinking about it, I was like, there comes a point where if we make true AI, we have to accept, like, we can't just have them be like clean my house anymore, because like they're
they gotta have rights and stuff.
Like that, and so this is after there's been a schism in the world, and people stepped up, they fought for robot rights. Robots now have rights, and they're living among humans like they have jobs, they're working jobs, and like a lot of jobs are stuff you like there's cleaning robots and stuff, but she's getting paid and she goes home, and then like robots start there was only one couple that I couldn't tell, but it seems like robots and humans are not mixing in relationship wise, but the robots are getting married, robots are having kids
to other robots,
to other robots, but robots are also recently, before the show starts,
did you say the name of the show?
It's called Pluto.
Okay, it's on Netflix, right?
Yeah. They recently got the ability where so they've been having kids or adopting kids which were robot kids, but they also have recently just been able to they're raising human kids too. But a big thing about it is these robots, since they're now they're trying to be as human as possible. So they when they have people, one thing they keep bringing up is when robots invite people in, they'll be like, "Would you like some tea?" And they get tea, and they'll sit down and drink it, and they're like, "We don't actually drink tea, but we just know you guys like it." And there's a actually kind of funny scene where a robot detective goes and visits a robot wife whose husband just died, and she's like, "Would you like some tea?" And it's like, I realize now that we both wouldn't be drinking. but some robots can eat, and there's this one robot, this boy robot, who he eats, and his thing is he's like, "This is so good," and then somebody's like, "Oh, I don't like this," and then his creator's like, "You've really come a long way with being able to fake eating food." And it's like, I just imagine what it must be like. But anyway, so the robots are trying to be human, but the whole point is, this is always when it comes to intelligent robots, there's always that law that's supposedly baked in that robots can't kill humans. Yeah. Well, a robot starts killing humans and also robots. But and so that's basically that's the whole crux of it, is who this robot is, and that you're following this detective, and it really plays into, which I always say, which is why I'm actually not I don't think we should really be pursuing AI to the extent myself, because I'm just it starts with robots need rights, robots should have feelings, and then once they start having, it's like, well, guess what? Humans were pretty fucked up with feelings. Yeah. And so basically, this one creator he wanted to make the perfect AI, and he saw to have the perfect AI, they need to be able to do everything, include not just he didn't want it to kill, but he's they need to be able to feel love and joy, but he also and anger and hate. And so he basically accomplishes his goal and makes the perfect AI. And guess what? It hates a lot of things, and it has a lot more powers humans with hate is already bad enough. We don't need but it's quite an interesting journey.
Look, you give me super strength and super speed. If you double what I got now, shit's going.
And I will say it definitely doesn't pull the punches, because it kills a lot of characters you weren't expecting to kill.
Oh, I like that one,
including who you thought was the main character. It's not.
See, that's you've gone too far. That's too spoilery.
Oh, sorry.
That's too much, Donnell. You killed it for me. I'm not even gonna watch it now.
Yeah, don't worry about it. But
we'll bleep that out. We'll bleep that.
It's interesting. It was a good watch. I enjoyed it. It's a one and done.
Yeah. I like that too.
And all right, got two quick things of news, Robert. So the first is a little bit of sad news as we're getting ready for The Boys, the Gen V, the spinoff series. One of its lead actors, I had his name.
Oh, yeah, he died. Yeah. Didn't we already talk about this?
We didn't talk about it on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
We ended up talking about it. Recently passed. His name was Chance Perdomo. He played Andre in Gen V. He passed of a motorcycle accident, unfortunately. And it's sad. They're moving on with season 2. The producer actually came forward and said, they're not going to recast him. They're just going to kind of
He wasn't a major character. He was an indie. Yeah, he was a main character, but you could get rid of him and not a lot.
You could definitely rewrite the story. It's not as if the one blood chick died.
Yeah,
I don't know how you rewrite that.
Yeah,
but him dying, one is because some of the heroes already have died. You can very easily, and so they are having his character die in the show also.
If the Blood Lady dies, you carry on with the super powered crazy guy. The one who's psychotic and seeing puppet people everywhere. That's the show I want. I want the puppet guy. I need his world more.
Yeah. But anyways, a little bit of sad news. Rest in peace.
I like that they're not recasting.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
And then this isn't really news. It's just weird to me because I was like, it just shows how much movies have changed. So next month, Deadpool's coming out. Deadpool 3. Ryan Reynolds in a recent interview said, editing is wrapping up now.
Okay.
And I'm like, I remember movies back when I was a kid. It was editing wrapped up 3-4 months, maybe even 6 months before the movie even hit theaters. Yeah. And the fact that this is coming out in a few weeks, and they're wrapping up editing. I'm just like I said, it's not news. It's just more for me, just a mind blows. The movie, you already have a date. You know when it's coming out. Trailers. And the editor's probably wrapping it up. Yeah, I'm just like, what?
What was the vampire show we watched together?
Oh, Abigail.
Yeah.
I thought for sure you were going to bring it up.
Abigail just came out about people kidnap. If you go watch the trailer, it's about some people who kidnap a little vampire ballerina girl.
Yes.
And I wouldn't call it like strong horror.
No, not at all. It's way more.
I don't know what genre it falls into.
Comedy thriller.
Yeah, because there's no mystery really about it.
No.
And it's not horrific. I mean, it's kind of gory
There's
in
some
places.
gore, but
it was just a fun,
it's a lot of fun,
mindless movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's got violence in it, so no going into that. But if you're just looking for a fun, mindless movie, that's one of them.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. I had a lot of fun. I'm glad we watched it together.
Yep.
A really good thing.
Some funny moments. Yeah.
Some unique characters.
Yeah. There's nothing about it that's going to, like, sideswipe you. It's just like, okay, this is on rails.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need an on-rails movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, honestly, those kind of movies are great, where you know 100% what you get when you're going into.
Yeah.
Because it's like some of you don't want to be thinking, or you don't want to have to deal with like your emotions. Like, oh, I just want.
It's a thankless movie.
I want 2 hours of just entertainment, and then we just call it a day.
Yep.
No diving deeper. No, how did that make you feel? None of that. No. Just it was some fun.
Yep. They answer all the questions.
Mm-hmm. Totally, 100% on rails. 100% great.
Yep.
That's that.
All right, we're going to take a break there, and when we come back, we will talk about The Acolyte.
Yes. And we are back. And we watched episode 1 and 2 of Acolyte.
Yes.
So
we watched a show that was on television.
For a long time, people have been saying, like they really need to like get into some like Star Wars, like some of the old Republic stuff.
Yeah.
We got to get into some of that. And so finally someone said, let's make that show. And I got to be honest, I'm like, I'm not seeing it. I'm not saying that stuff from the Old Republic can't be, but it's...
My top line,
mm-hmm.
This is the most mid thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
Not just mid Star Wars, just mid. Just
Center. It is a show that exists that I will watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
It's like, in the dictionary, a television show. The Acolyte.
Yeah. I mean, there's some, it is interesting just like seeing, so first off, before we even dive into the episodes, one thing that gets me though, is this is set supposedly like 100 or 200. I don't know if it says exactly, but just
centuries.
Centuries before our current Star Wars timeline.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what's going on in the Star Wars universe? Because if you go back centuries on Earth,
so it's 100 years pre-Empire.
Okay.
Actually, specifically. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's not as much. I thought
that's only a generation.
Yeah.
Yoda's alive.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, he's out there.
We haven't seen him yet.
I thought one point I heard his voice. Like, is it gonna be
Palpatine's around? Like,
Palpatine?
Yeah, he's like 1,000 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if it's only that's even worse then. Because what I was gonna say originally when I thought it was centuries is like, does technology not advance in this universe? Because they're talking about R2 units, and I'm like, you were using R2 units hundreds of years ago?
Yes.
You don't have
that's a thing.
R2000 units?
That's
or
a
what's
thing
up?
in the Star Wars universe where technology has been stifled for a long time. Like that's one of the things with like we've got to wipe the droids every so often, or they gain personalities.
Yeah.
That's because they don't know how to like bake that out of them.
Okay.
Because they just are copying technology that was invented thousands of years ago. And that's just how it works.
Out how it works.
Like hyperdrives invented thousands of years ago, and they just know how to make them.
Yeah, they don't know.
But there's no science. It's what happens when you're at war for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you let a religious sect take over the galaxy.
So starting out with episode 1, it's called Lost and Found.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the way they name these.
No.
Right? Because the second episode is
Injustice.
Yeah, I'm like, I get it. Again, it's just the most mid show. They can't make up a decision. They got to name it 2 different things and stuff. And they talk about they haven't had war for centuries in the galaxy.
Yeah.
In the galaxy.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of planets.
Mm-hmm.
No war?
No war.
Lies.
Yeah.
Lies and deceit.
Yeah. But I mean, and that's kind of one thing they
maybe
kind of
not
allude
galactic
to.
warfare.
Yeah,
but there's been
war on some planets, in between a few planets. But
we only got 250 countries on this planet, and like half of them are at war right now. Like, there's never been peace.
No. So yeah, this starts out with a fight scene in a bar between our titular Acolyte and a Jedi. And this is one of the things, my complaints I always have with the Force in Star Wars is there's no power scale. Like with the Force, like sometimes it seems like you can just barely do some stuff, and then sometimes it seems like you're like, and I get like different Jedis have different strengths, but even in this fight, the Jedi lady is fighting with this Acolyte who does have some Force power, but nowhere near on this Jedi's level.
Yeah,
and ultimately ends up losing the fight because the Acolyte basically, she's been throwing daggers the whole time. The Jedi's been catching them or forcing them around and stuff, and so then the Acolyte sees that the bartender, for whatever reason, so I'm like, why is he there? Like,
why didn't he run?
Yeah, like
why
everybody else run, and then he's just like it honestly looked like he was like trying to like start cleaning up the bar. I'm like, dude, you don't come back in to start cleaning up the bar until the bar fight is done. Like, I'm like, well, they're upstairs, so I'm sure they won't mind me cleaning up, tidying it up down here.
I did like that, like the fight started, and it wasn't like everybody got into a brawl.
Yeah,
they just pieced out.
Oh yeah,
they were like, we're out of here. Like, this is not good. This is not cool. So we should talk about so the Jedi is in Dara, played by the girl from the Matrix, Trinity from the Matrix. I don't know the actress's name. She's playing Trinity from the Matrix in this. She's like, I know kung fu. It's a kung fu fight. I'm like, you got a lightsaber.
The Jedi seem, I mean, I get it also because I mean, if the lightsabers are this all-powerful weapon and also like this honorable weapon, you know, so the Jedi are kind of like mirrored up to like samurais. Like, I get you don't draw that just at the blink, but still, I'm like, once you're fighting somebody, especially once you start saying we have an unknown force, you're like, okay, that's when lightsaber safety off. Like once, like before, sure, a couple of random bums in a bar, you don't need a lightsaber, just stuff, you know. But yeah, once you're like another force, you're like, safety's off.
Unlike Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's like busting out the lightsaber at a slight. He's like slighted at the bar, and he's like, I'm cutting an arm off.
Cutting an arm off. You're losing an arm.
But hey, it's been a couple of centuries.
That's what I was saying. Things have changed between. That's one thing I did notice. Things have changed between this time period and Jedi's of the future because, like, they act a lot different in the future.
But yeah, it was a good fight scene. But I need the lightsaber way sooner. It was too Matrixy, too kung fu, too much like bullet time feeling. Like I'm gonna lean back and dodge. And there's absolutely no way that Indara would not wipe the floor with May.
That's the thing is like there's that, and then also this like they do ultimately make it clear that Indara is stronger than May, faster than May. Like if they're just going to straight fight, so May looks to attack the bartender to distract Indara and succeeds. She throws a knife to the bartender, and Indara catches it with the force, and then gets stabbed in the chest. And the whole time I'm like, just do a force push in front of you. Like even if she's throwing the dagger, if you force push, it will push it out of trajectory, and it won't hit him. Plus, you'll be knocking her back. And so I'm just like, whenever this isn't like this happens a lot in Star Wars, where it just seems like sometimes Jedi's will be like either like, oh, I can't do that, or I don't have enough power. And then other times you have Jedi's pulling starcrafts out of the atmosphere. I'm like, make up your mind. Is the Force this all powerful force?
Well, the guy who pulled the Star Destroyer out of the air is like before this. And that was when like the Force was stronger. So it's important to remember.
Still think Force push would have worked.
Is that like
all I'm saying? Yeah,
and like
it was a dagger.
The prequels, they talk about like, should we tell the Council or should we tell the Senate that we've lost our ability to use the Force has diminished. And stuff like that. And that's because the dark side has influence and stuff like that. This is like, I wouldn't say the height of like Force ability, but it's that people in this show are going to be able to use the Force more readily and more strongly than people in the Empire phase and stuff like that. So this fight, we learned that May, we don't know her name yet.
No, that's right.
She is going to kill 4 Jedi. This is kind of dipping into episode 2. And she needs to kill one of them barehanded.
Barehanded, or I think
with her own hands, without using weapons, or anything else.
I think barehanded or with their lightsaber, because in both this fight and in the fights he has with Soul, she is seen grasping for their lightsabers while fighting them. So I think it's not that she has to beat them barehanded; it's that she has to kill them with their lightsaber.
Gotcha.
Because he's trying to get their like in both this fight and Soul's fight, she's trying to get their lightsabers, and they make it kind of clear.
Of the 4. We'll talk about Monk Dude in the next episode. This is your best option.
Oh, yeah.
Because your last guy that she's gonna go after, he's gonna be tough.
He's a Wookiee.
No, because it's
you're
gonna
talking
be
about Saul.
Yes, it's gonna be Saul. It's gonna be the last one.
He knows you're coming.
You ain't beating the Wookiee barehanded.
You're not beating the Wookiee barehanded. And like the monk is an impregnable filter.
He's got it. Yeah, the monk's the problem.
Though,
this is your
I kind
chance.
of feel like the monk. You probably like because he comes out and he's willing to. Like I said, we're already in the second episode. Why not? He comes out. He's willing to kill himself because he feels like they've done something wrong. Maybe they haven't. We haven't gotten there yet. But I'm just like, I don't know. I'll be like, hey, instead of you drinking that poison, so I can just get this bare hand off, can I snap your neck? I don't know. Be over quick. I'm just saying that's your best bet. Is be like, hey, since you're willing to kill yourself, do you mind if I did it real quick? You know.
Yeah. Okay, but she kills her.
Yep.
Take the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Why does she leave it?
I don't know. So then we're introduced to, like I said, we don't know May is May yet, but we are introduced into May's sister, who I forgot her name for some reason.
Osha.
Osha. Yeah.
It's a forgettable name.
Yeah.
Because it's a mid-stupid name.
Osha violation. No.
That would be better.
I mean, she's doing work
That would
out
be
there.
better. Yeah.
But anyways, we're introduced
that
to Osha.
Is hilarious because the job that she does is not OSHA recommended.
Yeah,
it's an OSHA violation.
100%. She is an OSHA violation, and her name is Osha. So we're introduced to her. She's on a ship with the exact same guys who were ruling Naboo, which I thought was weird.
But the trade. Well, not ruling Naboo.
Yeah,
it's the Trade Federation.
Yeah.
And they were like neutral, right? Until Palpatine like got them to do an illegal blockade against Naboo, and stuff like that. Right. So they're just part of the universe, you know.
True.
I mean, I'm sure there's corruption and stuff, but they're not like the bad guys at this stage, as far as we know.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
Other than they're using like illegal workers doing jobs that
which I will say
outlawed.
That was interesting because you don't really see, other than the worst thing in Star Wars ever, which was Princess Leia floating through space, being able to survive. But you really don't see people outside of spaceships in Star Wars.
Yeah, because usually it's done by droids.
Yeah. So I was like, that was kind of interesting little take. I'll give them that.
How can that be cheaper than an R2 unit?
I have no idea.
Than an astromech droid or something.
I mean, unless like droids are just hella expensive.
Well, I
think
actually I should backtrack because I think she said something about like we're more versatile than a droid.
And she was like more flexible.
We can bend or something like that. Yeah.
Still, I don't know. R2D2's done so much. So I'm like, I hate it.
That's R2. Okay.
I know.
Okay, he's high tier droid. Okay.
These guys don't have the money to afford R2D2.
Speaking of droids, more stupid droid toys.
Her Pip.
I like it. Pip. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, can we just stop?
Yeah. It's one of those things.
This thing is too useful. This is the doctor's like tool, right? From whatever you call it, the Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And it's like,
why
does not everyone have one of these?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my thing is also, I'm just like, can we, like you said, it's not like this one seems pretty cool, but it's just one of the things like you just know, you can just tell like this was literally put in the show so they could sell toys. And I get it. Everything's a business, but yeah, they're just too blatant with it, I guess. But anyways, yeah, so she's on the ship. And this is where we find out that the Jedis come because one of theirs died. They come to question her. And then you find out, and this is where I'm just
like... By the way, this Jedi Knight played by the guy from Russian Doll.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Yeah. Named Yord.
Yes. More mid-names.
These names. I'm just like, where are they coming up with them? Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so they come to, this is her old friend. They were training together. And that's where I have one of I got some questions for the Jedi Order. For two questions. One is I'm like, okay, I'm not saying, I mean, I don't know what the answer is here. Because I think about Dragon Age. Have you played Dragon Age?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So in that game, you have mages. And I hate the world that Dragon Age has made, but all mages are confined in most of the world to towers and stuff, and they can go out with permission, and they all have to be specially trained. And because mages can at any point, if they're not careful, they can be taken over by a demon and stuff. And if you don't want to run that risk, they make you tranquil. Like, those are your two options. Live in a tower, become tranquil. And I hate that because I feel like they should be in prison. But I also get it to some extent, and I feel the same way about Jedi. It's like, I get it. She wasn't cut out to be a Jedi. You can't just release... she luckily just went and got a job and was doing her business. Yeah. But you spent... I know you're training her to be an honorable thing, but the skills you train her, martial arts, force powers, all sorts of weapon techniques, you have literal powers where you can control people's mind or make them say things, you can't just release them out into the galaxy like, all right, hey, sorry didn't work out. Good luck out there. I'm like, no. You can't just have Jedis running willy-nilly through the or force-trained individuals. Like, I'm not saying, I don't know. Do you lock them up? I don't know what the proper answer is. I'm just saying the fact that
you just watch them. And
well, that's the thing is, they did find her right
training,
away.
it says it just withers on the vine kind of thing.
Well, yeah, without training. But I'm just saying, who's like, I'm assuming with less than training, it's more without use. Like, if you're not constantly using it, it withers on the vine.
There are other like force sensitive groups out there.
Yeah, there
aren't Jedi.
I know. But I'm just saying, responsibility wise, you spent years. I mean, they said they had her since he was like 8, and she's clearly, it's been 16 years. So she's what? That makes her 24. So it's been 16 years of training. Like, you invested a lot into.
Well, we don't know how long ago she left the order, do we?
Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, I guess. True.
I don't even. Did they even say why she left?
They said she's a kind of a Anakin's case. She was older, and they felt that she had too much anger in her.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Which is another reason I don't release that type of person out with force powers that you've been training for at least 8. I'm going to say at least 8 years. Yeah, 8 years of training. I'm like, sure, she's not pulling spaceships out of the universe, but against normal people.
Yeah. She's a force, yeah.
Even if you don't want to be a murderer, you could just, if he has the powers to coerce, he could be just robbing people. Give me all your money. I'm just saying. That's just too much power to be like, all right, have a good life.
Dark side real fast. But it's shown later on that she's full light side.
Yeah, no, like I said,
even though she
with
gets kicked
her,
out,
luckily, she is not. I'm just saying, this just made me think of like, you just let him go. Yeah. Just force all the way. But anyways.
So we go to Coruscant, whatever.
Coruscant.
Yeah. whatever. Andor did it better. I'm just saying, you can't show us Coruscant again unless it's Andor, where they go and like look at the mountain peak and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, when is Andor coming back? When is Andor
coming
back?
They have confirmed a second season. It's always been 2 seasons, so it is coming back. Yeah. No idea. I'm feeling, even though I hate to say
it's going to take a while. It's going to take a couple of years to put it
together. I'm feeling 2026.
Yeah, I'm feeling it too.
We're not getting it next year.
Oh man, there was some other show that's come out. They just confirmed they're redoing. Anyway, I can't remember what it is in my head. The Old Man. Yeah. Old Man. No, we're getting that later this year.
We're getting this year?
Maybe it is 2026. There's something we're getting later this year.
Yeah.
That's in my head. Anyway, I can't remember. I don't know why I brought it up. Sorry. Anyway, youngling training. Mm-hmm. This is some intense training.
Yeah.
They're like, look into the darkness of the abyss and tell me what you see.
Yeah.
And then someone just barges in and starts asking questions. I'm like, this is a moment.
Yeah.
In these child's development.
Yeah.
You don't stop. You've got the doors locked and you need to see this through. This is an all-day event.
Yep. Like, this
one girl's
is
like,
on the calendar.
It's like, I see the universe consumed by fire, and
That's what I was gonna say.
He's like, okay, well, have a nice day. Lesson's over. I'm like, no, that needs some follow up.
Well, I really loved actually how that played out. That was one thing I did find funny. Was it was like the first kid's like, I see hope, and it was like, okay, good. And it's like, I see life, fantastic. I see the universe consumed by fire. Kind of like you can see he pauses for like, well, the forces are all empowering. Yeah. Like he's like, how to spin this? Because I'm like, I feel like that's one of the like.
Clear the room. Yeah. Let's meditate, child.
Let's
investigate.
I also be like, lean over to someone like, yeah, mark that one down as maybe a Sith. I'm feeling a little Sith vibe from the fire one.
But anyway, they just talk about they need to go investigate this girl that might be Osha, but whatnot. We find out later it's her twin sister, which we'll get into a little later. And then we come back to she is on a prison ship.
Mm-hmm. I have so many problems with prison ship.
There's a lot of problems. There's some things I liked though about it.
Okay. I like the robots that turned into chairs.
I love that's exactly it.
I really like that.
Rewatched that scene like 12 times. I loved how the robots folded in on themselves when they got shut down.
Yeah.
And just became
rectangles. Seats. So
I'm like, I love
fantastic.
it.
Fantastic. But yeah, she's on this ship. She wakes up and there's other prisoners. And we find out this ship, no humans on board. Not a one. That's my first problem.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we're a little lax, but especially when you have someone who you think killed a Jedi, I'm like, at least one Jedi, someone on board. Yet alone, not to say also we have a man with apparently a computer in his head that he can just hack robots, and that has to be part of his crime. Like, this man has to be known as, like, the hacker or something. He has a freaking computer built into his head.
Yeah.
But no. Except for the robots. He just hacks the pilots. And I'm just like...
They got too many people in one cell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. By the way, where do I get me, like, an octopus drug face
You want to try that parasite out?
Look, if the aliens come, I'm going to try me some space drugs. I can't imagine what kind of crazy stuff the aliens have got, you know?
Yeah. Give me some of that green stuff.
Like the death stick? The death stick from the prequel? I'm like, yeah, give me a death stick. Like, that sounds fantastic.
I'll do one. I'll give it a shot, you know.
I mean, if I just have a Jedi friend around that can, like, mind wipe me and be like, don't eat the death sticks anymore, you know? It's just like, I'm going to try me some heroin, and then just be like, you're not addicted anymore. Yes. Wave of the hand. And I'm like, okay, then, well, you know, I tried it. It's good, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, I thought the escape was fast and fun.
That's the other thing, though. As we already said, this new robot is the sonic screwdriver of the Star Wars. I'm like, you don't have that in a cargo bin in the same room as if it can do everything what it comparatively do. That's stored somewhere else. It's not even in the same room because she gets out of that jail cell. I mean, she couldn't force it to herself, but the fact that she got out of that jail cell so quickly, I'm just like, that's
perhaps
near.
Mayhaps a restraining bolt.
Yes.
I mean, it's gonna take up a quarter of his body, but come on.
Yes. But she gets free, saves the guy who was doing some alien drugs, and he just bells on her.
Well, he wasn't doing them.
Yeah,
they put the alien
on him,
coma drug on the guy because he was losing his mind.
But it sounds like you're having a good time when you're at
yeah. And he just bolts.
Yep.
Just leaves her.
Escape pod leaves her, and she crash lands on a planet.
Yep.
Which our Jedis quickly find her on. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'm crashing.
The Force, I guess.
Yeah, true. The Force thing did lead her, but I was just like, she didn't get that far ahead of him. And it was like, you saw him landing. I'm like, as soon as I see any spaceship landed, I'm knowing the Jedi's are after, I'm booking it. I'm running hard.
We're introduced to Jackie. Again, the names in this show are the worst.
It's just
Sol, Yord, Osha, May, Jackie. By the way, Jackie Lee played by Daphne King from Logan, and also His Dark Materials, and something called the Better See Poltergeist podcast, which I kind of want to listen to. Anyway, I like Daphne King.
Yeah.
She's fantastic as an actress. I'm happy to see her do more stuff. She hasn't done much, really.
Yeah.
She's like been in like 7 things.
Yeah.
I mean, she started out young in Logan, obviously, but this will be a good stepping stone for her career. Anyway.
She has confirmed that she doesn't show up in Deadpool versus Wolverine, or Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, I thought she was supposed to. I thought she was gonna,
No. See,
I saw a bunch of images for that.
Once again,
have I been duped?
Well, once again, there's a lot of cameos rumored, and there's a lot of people who are rumored to be in it who are saying they aren't. And so there's a lot. There definitely are people who are saying they're not. I
guess it's not in their IMDb, so that's got to be it.
Well, I don't know. Wait and see. There is a possibility because, like I said, a lot of people have been like, "Oh no, I'm not in it," and they're like, "Are you sure?" There's a lot of rumored cameos, so we'll find out. We'll find out shortly.
I want her to be in it.
Yeah, so do I.
It's a great character, especially grown up. We get she has like a dream.
Yeah.
Where she sees her sister, which I didn't know if it was a dream or not, and I was like, "Well, this is random that she's on this ice planet."
I was glad it wasn't actually her sister because that would have really annoyed me. Like, I just like that's not how, why, but no, just how quickly everyone immediately accept. I mean, I get it because I get her because she she wants to prove her innocence, and everyone's saying the person looks like her, and then she has this dream. But how quickly, like, Soul, and then even when they're on the ship, and he mentions that she had, before they run into her, he mentions that she has a twin, and like, do you think maybe it could be her? I'm like, everyone just instantly jumps ship over to like, it's obviously the twin. Like, that's what got me about this show, is how I feel like it's just rushing. Because how quickly
it's got nothing it's attaching itself to. It's not a detective show.
That's what I thought it was going to be. Nothing. And then they cracked that open instantly.
It's sci-fi.
Yeah. Like,
what else is it other than sci-fi Star Wars?
What
it's got no personality.
Show was going to be before the first episode wrapped once they kind of establish like, oh, someone's killing Jedis, and they think it's her, but it's not her, and stuff. I was like, what this is going to become is it's going to be her like evading the Jedis while trying to crack the case of who's killing the Jedis.
That would be a better show.
They quickly threw it out the window, but like, by the way, she has a twin. Yeah. The twin's doing it.
There's no
everyone
mystery,
knows it,
like,
and that was I was amazed by. Well, I just was like, you had a show. You had a show that was like. And then you're just like, in the very first episode, you're like, no, that's all. We know who the killer is. We know what she's doing. It's not her. There's no mystery. We're done. And I was like, this is mid. I think it's 8 episodes. I'm like, this is
6 episodes.
Oh, 6 episodes? Yeah. I'm like, you tell me this in the end of episode 5 at the earliest, if not.
By the way, we're not covering the show. The Boys starts next week. We're going all in on the Boys. Starts with 3 episodes.
We'll give you a wrap up once this show is done.
We'll revisit at the end and be like, were we feeling mid about it at the end versus at the beginning kind of stuff. Anyway, they go, they find her, they capture her. It's like, it's kind of a weird, the fugitive thing. Like, I didn't do it, I don't care kind of thing, whatnot. And then
very quickly from I didn't care to I believe you. And I was like, okay, cool. We just all on board on the twin. The twin fast. That everybody says is dead.
And just a last nail in the coffin for this first episode of how mid this show is. Somehow they put the after/mid credits scene before the credits, which is this ominous guy talking to May.
Yeah, out with a red lightsaber
somewhere.
And then
which is clearly Sidious.
Yeah. I will also say though, the second episode ends in such a way that I was like, what was the point of that? What was the point of that? But yeah, so we pick up and they're chasing down May. Episode 2. I will say, so May gets a 7th episode, so he's going after the four Jedis that were stationed on their planet.
Yep.
This dude, once again, this is another one of those questions of like, what is the Force?
I guess that's a mystery, is what exactly happened on their home planet.
There is
what did the Jedi do that makes her hate them so much?
Yeah. I thought part of it was going to be that she thought, and she does say like they killed Osa until they're like, no.
Yeah, but so both sisters think that the other is dead.
Yes.
Even though they're both got Force powers and are having dreams about each other.
Yep.
And if you got Force powers, you're taught that dreams are prophecy and mean something. You guys are quantum entangled.
Yeah. I mean, that's why they got the same hair.
What? Yeah. Okay. So we get to that point where like she has to pretend to be the other one.
Yeah.
I'm like, no way.
No.
Absolutely no way. She's not dressed the same, first of all.
She just threw a hood on her head real quick.
You're going to tell me they really have the same braids and hair dye, like all down pat? They're going to talk the same? Like,
I don't know. It's
crazy to me.
When they're like, send her in, I was like, don't send her in.
People are going to say like, well, you know, in real life, some twins like have like a lot that are separated at birth have a lot of consistency between them. And like, maybe the Force intertwines them in a way and whatnot. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. This is too much on a galactic scale with what they've been through.
I do have to say, I'm not saying the what is it? Like, to me, it's still a weak point. But I have seen some weird stories about twins who were separated at birth. And then when they meet up, they're like living almost identical lives.
They've got like two wives that look the same, have the same name.
They'll have the same job.
That have the same
name. And they'll have the same amount of kids.
Dogs
and
I'm
that
just
have the same
like,
name. What the like, I don't believe in like superstitious things, but I will say identical twins and twins as a whole, I do think that there's something weird going on because like there's just so. I mean, then there's twins like my dad. He's not identical, but my dad.
You know what it is? It's proof of a deterministic universe, right? Because they had the quantum signature when they were born, and they're just following the quantum path.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the show Devs?
No.
Oh, you should check that out. Okay. Nick Offerman. It's a one shot.
Ooh, Nick Offerman.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's all about developing a supercomputer that can see the future. And it's really good.
Okay. I'm going to check this out. That sounds interesting.
It's all about, is the universe deterministic, or, you know, is it on rail, or is it randomized?
Yeah.
Is there a multiverse kind of thing? Like,
okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, Devs.
From
like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it. I never knew. I thought it was like something like I don't know what I thought it was. Anyways, so yeah, they track her to the planet. She tries to kill a dude who can use the Force at all times to make a Force bubble.
I like the floating guy. So he did I get his? I don't think I got his name.
I did not get his name.
But he he hasn't talked in 10 years. I'm like, is he just been floating? Oh, Tobin. Yeah. Has he just been floating there for 10 years?
That's what I want to know. Like,
not eating. He hasn't talked in 10 years.
Time
like,
when later on in the episode when he comes down, and I was like, this is the first time this man been out of the bubble, because I know the Force is powerful, but like not only not eating, but like you got to use the bathroom. Like, what's going on in that bubble? What can you use the Force to like take away those things?
Oh wait. Okay, so but before that, they're traveling on the ship, and Osha and Jackie are talking, and then like Jackie's trying to get like this machine to work.
Yeah.
And she's like every user that we've ever worked with in IT, just like pushing buttons over and over again, and it's not working and just getting frustrated. And then Osha's like, why don't you realign the power coupling, which is just like a button you press. I'm like, you're telling me the Jedi Knight or the Padawan, ready, close to being a Jedi Knight on this mission, doesn't know to realign the power couplings on the janky computer on the ship she's been on 1,000 times.
It's a different time, Robert.
I hate it.
These are
I
Jedis.
hate it.
These are different style. Because that's the other thing. Is, I don't know, let's talk about Yord for a second. Because he is a Jedi Knight. He got it at like 2 years
Unnecessary
ago.
for him to be shirtless, by the way.
Yeah.
Though that dude is fit.
Yeah.
He is
I was
cut.
Like, yeah. Maybe that was a stipulation. Like, I got to show everybody.
Dude, that is a dude who has
I need a scene.
Skipped water. Like, you only look like that if you were just not drinking water.
Yeah.
He did not drink water for a week for that scene.
Yep.
Like,
he was like, I'm ready for it. Let's go. But anyways, so Yord is a Jedi Knight. They established that he has his own Padawan, even though he
totally does not feel like a Jedi
Knight.
Knight.
That's what I say. Is like they're making him out to be like the dumbest of the bunch. Like Jackie is
I hate the character,
clearly smarter, and I'm just like, it's one of those like, so we graded on a curve back then, or what? How did Yord become a Jedi? We low.
I mean,
on
I
Jedi
guess he
Knights?
passed the trials or
guess.
whatever, but like,
he's
very soldier. He's like, what should we do? It's like the exact thing from the book.
Yeah. I don't know this character, and also they made it seem like these two were friends at some point. And yet he is out of everyone, which I would think it would be Jackie, seeing as, she is very true to the Jedi ways of like no emotion, no connection. But he's very much the one who's most like, even after they established that her twin's out there, he's like, well, the twins could be working together. Like, he seems the most distrustful of her. I'm like, aren't you guys friends?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you be the first to be like, oh, I'm so glad you're not guilty? But he's like, I still think she might have killed some guys. And I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah. So Floaty dude drinks the poison because he's like feeling guilty about the things that he's done and and done to May and whatnot. And then Osha shows up shortly after, sees a dead guy on the ground, a vial, don't smell it, waft. I went to science class, in middle school, and they're like, if you've got a chemical, you don't just get in there and sniff it, you hold it away and you waft.
Yes,
you
just
waft
a little bit.
Okay, like she dead.
Yeah.
From this poison.
And the other thing also is I'm just like, I don't know. Like, so they're basically, they're when May goes in to poison him, happens to be when they show up and they're talking to everybody outside, and they're like, okay, let's go in. And they start going in, and then C sees a vision of a young May again and decides to follow her. And from everything I can tell, they were on a straight path to the dude, and C goes off at a perpendicular angle. So I'm just like, how did C get there before them? Like, it just didn't make any sense. But C does. Maybe they stopped for a drink. I don't know. But anyways, he gets there before them and makes it seem like C might have killed him. But she didn't. Luckily, Yord does. He says he's following, and she's like, thank you. Like, he wasn't following you because he trusts you. He's following you because he thought you were up to some shit. He just happened to be able to prove you innocent.
By the way, May is the worst.
Yeah.
Okay, she's leaving witnesses. You got to kill bloodlines. Should have killed the bartender and the kid.
Yeah.
You got to be full evil here, okay? And then she uses a poison that's specific to her home world.
Nope. No, you don't.
She is the worst assassin ever.
Yeah.
She's going to get caught.
Just get some poison.
She already is caught.
She already is caught, which, that's so, like I said, they go back to the poisoner, and they catch him. And
hated that apothecary poisoner character.
Yeah.
I didn't understand his whole deal. Did he run the shop, or did he kill the guy who ran the shop and was just chilling there?
He took over the shop because the Jedis who were on that planet did make it clear, like, that's not our normal apothecary dude. So I'm not sure if he killed him, but he's not there anymore. Probably killed him. Why not?
Yeah.
But he says so before, like he has suspicions that it's not May, and yet he still opens up with like, "Did you kill him? You used the poison? Yeah, the master will be proud about that." And I'm like, dude, if you are suspicious that this is not the person who you think it is, maybe don't just.
And isn't he like a dark force user guy?
Well, he's at least working with them and sees her master as his master, or I think.
I mean,
and my thing
is it because May doesn't know who the fuck her master is? Apparently, they mentioned that in there. What the hell is that about?
But and then when they come in, though, I will say this, and I'm glad he brought it up eventually. But the Soul comes in and he's like, hey, if you play along, maybe we'll let you go. And I'm like, no. This man does not get to be let go. Mainly because he said the thing of the master will be proud or will be glad if you did it with your bare hands. Meaning he is not just a guy running an apothecary or some drug dude. Like the fact that he said the master or he will be proud, I'm like, you take both of them. You do not let this man go.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but apparently they do right after this fight.
Yeah, they're like, if you can answer the question of who, we might let you go. I'm like, no,
you are in that space of a pair of handcuffs, my friend.
Do they not know who the Sith is? A Soul at least should know some Sith lore.
Some Sith lore, yeah. Sith haven't been around for a while, but everyone should be learning about some Sith.
Yeah.
But anyways, so we get a fight scene between Soul and May, which is all right.
It's fine.
And then
except for the part where she like uses, well, I guess this is after, but where she uses Jedi pocket sand to escape.
I think she just blew up the sand on the ground.
Yeah, that's pocket sand.
Okay, yes,
whatever.
Good old Jedi pocket sand.
Yeah.
But anyways, before that though, they come to a draw where May is like, "You killed my sister," and then Soul's like, "No, Osa's alive," and I'm like, "Yes," and this is when Osa steps out.
By the way, why wasn't Osha like as soon as she heard the sister? Why wasn't she? Force dash beelining it because for where her sister was.
This scene makes a lot more, or would be a lot simpler.
What is Osha even doing at this time? She's just hanging out in an alleyway.
Because he told her to wait, which I'm like, it doesn't matter. You're on the
she's
comms.
Not the master. He's not the master anymore. You don't got to do what he says.
When he's like, Osa's alive. Like, and then here comes Osa. But instead, here comes Yord, another Jedi who she doesn't believe. Like, yes, Osa is alive. I'm like, she's not going to believe you any more than she's going to believe him. Like, I was just like, this doesn't accomplish anything other than making her feel more threatened because now there's two Jedis and one who's a lot more lightsaber gun-ho because Yord always has his lightsaber out.
So they do end up seeing each other.
Yes.
And Osha pulls a gun on May. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, just take the shot and end this series.
Yes.
This is mid. It only needs to be 2 episodes. Yes. I don't know how you make it interesting from here.
Yeah.
I do not want to see the Wookiee fight in the next episode.
I'm not looking forward to the Wookiee fight. And I will say, I'm also, especially with this, so yeah, May shoot, but purposely misses and then tries again. So he gets away. Somehow her and the apothecary guy meet up again, which I'm like, no, why is the apothecary guy free? But they're going off. And then here comes one of the most, like, annoying parts of dialogue is, so Soul's talking with the like head Jedi back on Coruscant.
Yeah.
And he's like, we should go after May. And she's like, no, we must deliberate. I'm like, I'm going to stop you right there. That's one thing the Jedi get so annoyed about is how much you got to talk about stuff. I know you can't always just be rushing off, but I'm with Soul's camp. But also, then Soul's like, but we know where she's going. I'm like, yeah, we do. So let's go with a deliberation plan. Step 1 is call back everybody, which is just Soul and Wookiee. Be like, hey, everybody to Coruscant. Because I think her goal is to kill Soul and the Wookiee. Get Soul and the Wookiee to the most fortified place ever. Because if she's going to come after him, she's going to make her have to go through every Jedi in the Force. Yeah, so I'm just like, the fact that the Wookiee, like they show us, the Wookiee's on his planet, like, why are you not ringing him up and be like, dude, someone's coming to kill you. Get over here. Like, I just can't figure if this next scene, if this next episode takes place on the Wookiee's planet and the Wookiee is still there, I'm like, what the fuck?
Okay, so in the defense, my take on it is that the Wookiee is crash landed and he's stuck there, maybe?
I don't know, man.
Like, why is he living in a broken down spaceship in the jungle?
Soul said we know where she's going. I mean, I feel like the Jedis know where the Wookiee is. So
gotcha.
I feel like the Wookiee
with you.
is.
You call the Wookiee, which is his name is Kelnaka.
Yeah.
You call him and be like, "This lady's coming for you," which maybe they do in the next episode.
Killed
Again,
2 Jedis.
We get an after credits scene before the credits.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, we must deliberate. You have galactic, interstellar, real-time holographic communication.
Yes.
You can do both.
Yeah, and
you can start following her and deliberate in council at the same time.
And Robert, you just have to understand, they do eventually learn that, because remember in council meetings in the future, they have hologramic representation. Right. So they do learn. Apparently, the older Republic didn't figure that out, but we do know they do learn that you can talk.
The older Republic, it's 100 years ago.
You can talk and drive at the same time.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, I was just like, no, you know where she's going, then get the Wookiee back to Coruscant.
Yeah. We've seen people in holographic council, like round table meetings, while blasters are going off around them and they're actively fighting things.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Oh, the show is so
It
mid.
is just, I was kind of excited because
I went into this with nothing. I didn't read anything about it. I just knew there was a show named The Acolyte, and it was Star Wars, and that I was going to check it out.
I knew it was Old Republic, and I was like, I'm kind of interested in this because we've always talked about it. People always talked about it. Let's do the next thing. We've done the original trilogy, the prequel, the sequel. We can go farther in the future, but let's see how it all began. I was like, let's see it.
I mean, I loved me some Legend stuff. I really need some HK-47 stuff to show up.
Yes.
Like, give me the HK-47 show.
Yes.
I've read his lore page. There's a lot more than just Jedis of the Old Republic 2 or whatever. It's what I don't know which
Knights of the Old Republic.
Knights of the Old Republic going on. He's got a whole book series and story going on that can be tapped, and it sounds really awesome from what I've read.
Legend stuff isn't real anymore, Robert.
Like taking out other versions of him, copies of himself, and liberating robot planets and slave labor camps for robots. It sounds amazing. What are we doing here about these two bitches? Like, I hate it. That's why I'm gonna watch it, because it's mid. I'm drawn to it just for its midness.
It's so mid I can't turn away.
It's like I'm drinking water. It's just water. You
gotta have it. You gotta have it. But so we will. Because I think, especially since it's only, I'm really glad you told me it was only 6. I'm like, how are we getting 8 episodes of this? Yeah. But it's only 6 episodes. We will finish watching this, and we will come back to let you know if it continues on this mid journey it is on.
But next week we're talking about some boys.
Something that is not mid.
Yeah.
Something that is. Oh man, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this. Ready for some Butcher. Ready for Huey. Ready for all of it.
Yeah.
And it looks good. The trailers look good so far.
Oh, yeah.
And I really wonder. So, actually, that's one thing I think we talked about off mic also.
Yeah.
Is
that they don't have an end.
Yeah, you were originally like, I think this is last season. I was like, I thought it was 5. And then there was an article from the one of the producers or a director. I can't remember.
Yeah, showrunner or something, yeah.
And he was, it was a showrunner. And they're like, when we started, we were like 5. I'm like, good, solid 5. And like, now I'm like, well, let's see what happens. And I was like, no. If you start a show and you have end
with
sight,
5, run with your Gen V stuff. Gen V is very good. No reason you can't explore spin-offs and other universes, but do not mess this up.
5, end it in 5. So if you're listening, which you're not, but if you somehow are, go back to your 5 plan, man. It is good, and it needs to end well.
As always, you can find us on our website, watchinitpod.com. There you can find links to our social media and to email us, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. Donnell, what else should they do?
Well, as we already said, we're covering The Boys, so if you have not watched The Boys or haven't been keeping up, so probably go watch that. And honestly, if you haven't watched Gen V, give that a whirl too, because it's gonna. I mean, it's not gonna be.
It takes a few episodes to get started.
It does.
Gen V does.
Yes, Gen V.
At first, I did not like it, but once I got through a couple of episodes, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I'm here for this now. And also, like, I don't think we're gonna. We may see some Gen V characters, but probably not. But it is at the end of Gen V. A character shows. I'm not going to ruin it. A character shows up, and it's definitely going to play into what's happening in the season of The Boys. So check out Gen V if you haven't. Get ready.
I think Gen V stuff is absolutely going to play into this.
Oh, it's definitely. I'm just saying. I'm not sure if we're going to see.
Like the characters and stuff.
Like I think
we'll see.
Yeah, that's right. Gen V definitely plays into this next season. I'm just saying. I'm not sure if we see Gen V characters.
I want Shrinking Girl. She's my favorite from Gen V.
She can't be in it. Well, I mean, I guess they could if they're going to continue the story of Gen V in the. That's because I remember at the end of Gen V, they're all in prison.
Oh, true.
So unless they're gonna like have them being broken out in that.
True.
We'll see. We'll see. That's what we get to see. So be looking forward to that with us. And give us any ratings, reviews, 5 stars. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.